magicians who'll give you a tease. You know how I feel. Ladies will remove some of these. Look, but don't feel. Man in a dress, hi, I know how you feel. 'Cause it's cabaret, and I'm feeling good. Because we're all feeling good.
My name is Alice Dahan and I am a budding burlesque dancer. So to start with, when I was young, I was actually incredibly quiet and introverted and not very confident at all. I'd always enjoyed reading drama, and I was in love with Shakespeare and all other playwrights, and I loved listening to cabaret and watching dance. But it wasn't until I started sixth form and decided to do a drama A-level that I finally really learned how much fun I had being on stage and expressing myself through dance and performance. Since I've started dancing, I've become so much more confident in many other ways. I'm so much less ashamed of my own sexuality and my own body now, and surprisingly, even though a lot of people think that going into something like burlesque might make you more self-conscious, more judgmental of your own body shape, it's helped me to accept the fact that, like, you don't have to be beautiful by the media's common standards of what beauty is, and you can still really love your body and people can still find you really sexy. It's all about self-expression. And on top of that, it's just been a great way to meet loads of really interesting people, and it's really helped me to kind of find myself and my own identity. When I was about 12 or 13, I was very insecure about my body and my physical appearance. And I developed some very mild eating disorders. And also throughout my childhood and teenagehood, I've had mild anxiety. But definitely, since I've started dancing and getting involved in burlesque and cabaret, it's helped both of those things, partly because it's helped my body confidence, and partly because it's made me a lot more capable of like performing in front of people, talking to people, and I just have generally more confidence in myself as a person, so my mental health issues have definitely gotten a lot better. In terms of how burlesque helps the community generally, I mean, I had a friend who did a show for fundraising for a charity, like a mental health charity, so definitely it can be used for charity events and bringing communities together and things like that. But also in terms of just raising awareness, you can actually have incredibly political shows that spread messages about things like mental health and other issues. I think that burlesque and the burlesque community is probably one of the most LGBT friendly communities I've ever been in. I mean, obviously in school, if you don't define as straight, there's a lot of bullying, and I think in most industries, most workplaces, there's a general attitude of heteronormativity and a lack of acceptance of any other kind of sexuality.
It's not about one night, it's years of abuse, being the underdog, being some smoking's resolved in this though, and it all kicks off.
I think throughout history, I mean, obviously in the past and when cabaret was first kind of going on, it was still illegal to be gay, and all of those things were like very not socially acceptable. But in cabaret communities, you still had drag queens, drag kings, people who were definitely not straight and didn't define in the kind of socially acceptable ways at the time.
Wall Street closing Gucci controls crowds in the street, people cheering, arm in arm in the cops we're cheering. We've had what we can take from you, the Gestapo. We're putting down our heels. Once and
the kind of LGBT community exists now in a way that it didn't in the past. But I think that you can safely say that burlesque and cabaret and those communities played a big role in creating the subculture that we have today, which is so accepting of LGBT people.
That was the night of Judy's celebration, and that was the night of queer liberation.
I think at the beginning, sometimes you're not necessarily doing the shows you want to do, they're not with the people you want to be working with, they're in like rundown areas and bars, and they're not the best audiences, and definitely I mean, it's an expensive business to start off in. You're not making as much money at the beginning, and it's definitely a difficult life. Like any art, to be honest, any artist will tell you the same thing, that until you're big, it's really difficult to get into it. But that's not to say that it's not worth it, because it probably has to be one of the most rewarding things you could do with your life.
If you want to create art, create art. Don't worry about how it's going to be documented, how it's going to live on, and who's going to book you ever again. Fuck them. And if you think your work can be summed up in 3 lovely photos and a video, your work is